You are wasting nearly 30% of your life doing admin work. A lot of people think AI is just for writing code or making funny images. They think it's a toy, and other people think it's just too complicated to learn. The reality is different. One of the best ways to use AI right now is cognitive offloading. This means you stop being the doer of every task that you have. You stop writing every word, you stop editing every cell, and instead you become the orchestrator. You tell the AI what you want, and it does the heavy lifting for you. My name is Daniel Strongen, and I've been using AI since the beginning in November 2022 when ChatGPT was released. I've used artificial intelligence to help me build an IT agency, subscription sites, affiliate marketing sites, and YouTube channels. Today, I'm going to show you 10 specific manual tasks that you need to stop doing today. We're going to move from the boring office stuff to crazy data tricks, to even having AI help you with your personal life to help you save your sanity. So let's get started. First, we have to fix the communication bottleneck. The average professional spends 28% of their week on emails. And the problem isn't necessarily the typing, it's the tone of the email. You're always staring at the screen, wondering if this is too aggressive, this is not firm enough, it's too polite. And this wastes a ton of time. Personally, I've done this a lot in my IT agency, emailing clients, talking to clients, just spending a lot of time with the tone of emails. So you'll want to stop writing emails from scratch. You can use what I like to call the draft polisher workflow. You can write your rough draft, and these can even just be notes. You can even be kind of rude in these notes, and then have the AI write your email for you just based off these notes. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a prompt with specific notes. That way you can see just how transformative this can be. So I've gone ahead and loaded up a Gemini 3. You can use any large language model of your choice. I'd recommend one of the big three: OpenAI's ChatGPT, Anthropic's Claude, or Google Gemini. Okay, so I pasted in my prompt here. And I'll break down all the prompts, and all 10 of these tips are just going to go through different prompts and reprompting that you can use right now to stop doing work manually. So our first one, act as a professional executive assistant. I have pasted some rough notes below regarding a project update. Please rewrite these into a concise professional email to a client. The tone should be confident but apologetic about the slight delay. Ensure there are clear bullet points for the next steps. So this can be your template for exactly what to include for the prompt. So you don't have to keep it exactly like this. You can change it around. And then I have my notes. Here are my notes to turn into the email. So just a bunch of messy notes, and let's just read through some of them. Okay, so the page was supposed to be done today, but we're like 1 to 2 days behind. Not a huge deal, but I should say something so it doesn't look like we're ignoring him. Another one here, don't blame team, just say unexpected adjustments. Emphasize we're close to finishing, like 90% done, honestly. So all these notes are just really quick notes that's just give your initial thoughts on the situation. You'd say maybe mention that the animations took longer, or is that too much info? Asking the AI about this. Important to reassure him that we're on track to delivery early next week. So all of these notes in here, then we can go ahead and submit the prompt. All right, and then we have our result here. Hi, client name. I wanted to provide a quick status update on the landing page. We are currently 90% complete, but we are running into 1 to 2 days behind our original target for today. We decided to redesign the last section to ensure it aligns perfectly with the rest of the page. While this required some unexpected adjustments, the result is much stronger. Next steps. So go over the next steps. We are on track early next week. In the meantime, could you please send over the final product images we discussed? That will allow us to slot them in before the final handoff. Thanks for your patience. We're excited to show you the final result. So this is really good. It doesn't sound overly professional, doesn't sound too apologetic. It just hits the right tone, and it gives all the information that we included in our prompt from our notes. So you can see just how powerful this is. Just again, it's the tone. Like a lot of times you know what to write, but you just need to word it in the perfect way that allows you to get the response that you want from whoever you're contacting. Okay, and then I'm going to include some reprompts that we can include after each of these. 10 points that we go over. So this next one here is rewrite this email draft to be more concise. So let's just say it was a little bit too long, and then remove any passive voice and ensure the call to action at the end is clear. Use a tone that aligns with a small IT agency. So getting even more specific in our prompt. So we can even include these in our first prompt and refine our first prompt and save that first prompt, whether that be in some sort of project in ChatGPT, or just have that prompt ready to go. So go ahead and enter and see what it comes up with here. Okay, we are 90% complete with the landing page, but need 1 to 2 extra days to wrap up. Redesigned, the result much stronger. Had unexpected delays. Remaining tasks, we'll send you a link for your review early next week. Action item, please send off over the final product images by tomorrow. So yeah, this is great. This is really concise. All meat in this email. And this is also a good one to send. Oh, the other one was good too, but if we want it more concise, this will work really well also. So this isn't groundbreaking using AI to create an email. It's just a lot of people still don't use it to adjust the tone. Think of the tone. It's about the prompt that you give the AI to give you the tone that you want, to have the message land how you would like it to with whoever you're talking to. So you provide all the ideas and the facts, and then the AI brings the structure, the written email with the tone that you want. But don't think email is the only black hole in the workplace. We've all been there. You sit in a meeting, you take notes, but by Tuesday you have audio amnesia and you forget who promised what. So stop taking manual notes. Record the meeting, get this transcript, and have the AI be your AI analyst of the meeting notes, of the transcript, of the entire meeting. And don't just ask for a summary. And I know there are plenty of tools out there that just do this for you, have AI integrated and can create meeting notes. But a lot of those tools are paid tools. So this is a way that you can just do it for free. Gemini, Claude, and ChatGPT all have free versions, so you can just easily do this without paying anything. So let's have a look at our prompt here. So you are a project manager. Review the attached meeting transcript. Please extract the following: 1-paragraph executive summary of the discussion, a table of action items, listing task owner and deadline, list of open questions that were unresolved, identify any strategic decisions made. And then we have a transcript, a made up transcript here. I went ahead and added it in, then we'll go ahead and submit. Okay, and then we have our executive summary, our action items in this nice table that we can export to sheets, and then unresolved open questions. And then finally, the strategic decisions. So you can see how we can just get everything broken down for us, exactly what we want from our meeting notes. So if you have specific meetings, you can create specific prompts that get that specific information detailed out for you, so you don't have to go back to your meeting notes. You can have AI do this for you very easily. And we can take this a step further. We can ask it even more questions. So let's add another prompt here. Analyze the transcript for any points of conflict or disagreement. Who advocated for what? Also list any potential risks mentioned that we need to mitigate. So this is also really important. You can also get more out of your meetings by having a chat with the transcript and have the AI analyze just kind of the sentiment of the meeting. What are potential roadblock blocks? Maybe they weren't really verbalize so much in the meeting. You can have AI infer this for you. Okay, points of conflict and disagreement. So we have a back-end escalation, advocates for escalation, advocates for patience, animation implementation, refusing to fix the freezing bug until requirements are final, design, undecided on the core specification, launch strategy, status quo, adhering to the December 1st launch date. And we have the critical risks, conversion plummet, unstable backend, deployment ambiguity, and then high risks. Sport tickets are up 18%. Process breakdown, localization delay. We get medium risks, and then it gives us next steps. Given the confusion regarding ownership mentioned at the end of the transcript, would you like me to draft or recover the launch email? So then we can take next steps on this, whether that be draft an email, draft a message in Teams or whatever platform you're using, create spreadsheets. All of these things can be just off of these meeting notes that we have, the meeting transcripts. So again, this is a free to start interacting with your transcripts right now and see drastic improvements and cutting a bunch of time that you're spending just looking at your meeting notes. And with this, you can see how detailed it is. So now you have a chief of staff that holds everyone accountable, and you don't have to chase them around later. And once you have those tasks, you need a plan. Most people have notes everywhere, from Slack messages, emails, text messages, and turning those notes and messages into an actual project is pretty time consuming and, to be honest, really annoying to do. because everything's scattered everywhere. So this will take a ton of copy and pasting. We can fix this by using the synthesizer method. Paste all those notes into AI and then use this prompt here. I have pasted notes below from 3 different sources regarding Project Phoenix. Please consolidate this information into a single project plan, including a section for objectives, deliverables, timeline, and risks. Create a checklist for the next 7 days. Here are the notes. So then we have our sources, Slack messages. Did we confirm the target launch for the beta? Thought we said mid-February, but maybe that's too early. Please don't forget we still need the API keys from DevOps. No keys equals no testing. Don't ship without mobile responsiveness. Okay, so a lot of messages, a lot of kind of broken messages. It's not perfect grammar in here. We're using slang, IDK. So again, all kind of something you would encounter just in your different sources where you want to pull them in for a project. Then we have source 2, just random email fragments. Okay. The legal team said the new terms page must be included in the first release, not a later update. We need a 2 to 3 week buffer for accessibility testing. Please factor that in. So all of these constraints, we're adding them into our sources. And then source 3, personal notes. Then we have one more source here, source 4, phone call notes. And source 5, Google Doc revision history. So again, pulling information from everywhere. So let's go ahead and run this. Consolidated everything and created a cohesive project plan for Project Phoenix. There are several discrepancies regarding the timeline, mid-February versus early March, and scope Firefox/payments, which I have highlighted for you to resolve. So we have our objectives, create and launch a lightweight onboarding flow, secondary goals, ensure mobile responsiveness, achieve accessibility, AA compliance, establish a foundation for phase 2, deliverables, scope phase 1, core functionality, onboarding UI, full screen flow and content. Okay, legal team, updated terms of service page, to be confirmed, at risk. Then we have timeline and key dates, current estimate, early March, launch. Okay, immediate critical, testing phase, requires 2 to 3 week buffer for accessibility testing. Yeah, we read through that. Risks and blockers, always nice to have sections like this. It's another thing AI is really good for, assessing risk, thinking of things that you haven't thought about. Action checklist for the next 7 days. So this is really detailed. This just takes all those notes and creates something into a cohesive report here. So these may be boring tips, boring prompts, but you'd just be surprised if you implement these, just how much time you'll save. And then we can interact further with these notes. So you can put in a new prompt here. Based on these notes, what critical information is missing for a complete project plan? What specific questions should I ask the client/team to fill these gaps? So not just getting summaries and analysis of the information that you put into AI, but also getting next steps, things you haven't thought of, insights that you just hadn't thought of yourself. That's where a lot of the value comes from AI, as well as just doing some time-consuming repetitive tasks. Okay, I mentioned there are several silent killers, the scope versus timeline disconnect. So that was already discussed. It breaks this down even further, and then it gives us questions that we can ask to our team. Ownership vacuums. So then it gives us a better direction to go in as far as who's going to own what. A hidden security phase, a security review, budget and resource clarity, a gap, a potential 8-10% budget cut, and contractors affected. Success criteria. The goal is lightweight onboarding flow, but this is subjective. So it's really honing in on exactly what we provided. And as you're getting all this analysis, read through it. Make sure you're understanding all of it and see that the AI doesn't hallucinate. These large language models keep getting better and better, but still hallucinations can occur. So always make sure that they're not there and make any corrections. So as you can see, this turns chaos into order instantly. So now I want to show you one of the best tricks on the list. This one is so simple, but is a huge time saver. So let's say you have a bunch of data. You have emails, you have phone numbers, you have names, but they are all jumbled up in a Word document or in an email, and you'd have to manually copy and paste these over into a spreadsheet. Don't do that anymore. Convert the following unstructured text into a table with columns for name, email, and company. Format it as a CSV code block so I can paste it into Excel if a value is missing. Insert NA. Here's the text to convert to a table. So then I provide a list of names, emails, and I'm confused about some emails as well, so I don't always give definitive answers in the information I've given the AI. So you can see no company yet, freelance, contact Rachel, the company, email belongs to someone named Cheryl, but her real email might be Cheryl at parallaxdata.com. So all over the place here. Okay, so we have our output here. It's converted to a formatted as a CSV table. Notes on data cleaning or multiple emails were listed. I prioritized the specific business email or listed both separated by a semicolon. That's really nice. It organizes it for us. Ambiguous company names were inferred from the email domain were obvious, which definitely makes sense. If they have an email with a domain name, then it's going to be from that company. Invalid or partial email fragments, like this one, were marked as NA. So then we have our code snippet that we can copy over. And what's also nice about all the big three large language models is they have Canvas, a Canvas mode, which allows us to see this in an editable kind of document. So we can turn on Canvas and say, create table in CSV format in the Canvas. And then from here, we can click the share and export, copy contents. We can also have this more visual. If we want to see this before, it's in the CSV format, we can say, now create a table from this data. And then we have options here as well, where we can create an infographic web page. This is native to Gemini 3, these specific options. Again, we can share the reports, export to docs, print it, and make edits as we see. We just edit just like that. So another way to organize data, and something that takes a ton of time that all of us work with, regardless of what job we're in, or even in our personal lives, is going through large documents. We all get those 50-page PDFs or long reports. And of course, reading them word for word is just going to take forever, especially if you have a lot of them. It just slows things down a lot. So switch to active extraction, upload the PDF to AI, and interview it. Okay, so we have our prompt. Let's go over our document first that we're going to be uploading. Go ahead and upload it. You can upload while we look at the document. Lessons from productivity research, applying these to a strategy for Japan. So pretty dense reading, as you can see. And we have 45 pages. This study presents selected lessons learned from productivity research. It examines the extent to which the key empirical questions about productivity have been answered. While the productivity growth residual TFP is still somewhat puzzling, soft innovations and new business models are seen as important contributors. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then we have our prompt here. Summarize this productivity research report. Focus specifically on the sections analyzing which industries contributed most to TFP growth, cross-country productivity differences, and the recommended strategy for improving Japan's productivity. Ignore the historical narrative and background theory. Present the TFP contribution data in a clean table, one for the US and one for Japan. So of course you'll have to know a little bit about the document, but you don't even really have to know about the document at all. But it would help if you knew just a little bit about it. That way you can direct the AI into more specifics that you want to get out of the document. You can of course just start with some sort of summarization, and then as you get that summary and you are more interested and want to learn more about specific parts or are confused about certain parts, then you can dig deeper into each one. So we'll go ahead and run this. Okay, so then we got our response. I updated the prompt a little bit here as it kept using the deep research from Gemini 3, so I just told it not to use deep research and focus on just the attached PDF. You can use deep research by going to the tools and deep research, a really good feature that analyzes many sites, takes around 3 to 5 minutes to do deep research. Highly recommend using it. Gemini's deep research is really good. So just based on the Brookings report, that's what's in the PDF. Brookings report, we get this breakdown, the industry contributions to TFP growth, which is what we wanted. There's in the US, a nice table here, and it cites its source here, page 8. Another citation, so that way you know it's not hallucinating. You can go back to the document and check and verify this information. Always recommended to do that as well. It is time consuming to do that, and people feel like, oh, I'll just trust AI, but you always want to be checking at least to some degree. Okay, and then we have number 2, cross-country productivity differences, then a strategy for Japan's productivity. And it's just great that it has all these sources that's including here, a strategy for Japan's productivity. There you go. And then it's asking if we want to visualize the TFP data differences between the US and Japan. Before we do that, we can go ahead and add another prompt to just understand the document a bit more. So let's say we're having a little bit of a hard time understanding everything. We can just say, explain the core idea of this productivity research paper as if I were 12 years old. Use a simple analogy like comparing countries to students in a classroom trying to improve their grades. Break the explanation into 4 small, easy to read passages. So we don't even have to include that. We can just include just just this if we wanted to. So we can get as detailed or as simple as we want to in our prompt. It really just depends what exactly you want. So always try and think outside the box instead of just giving a simple prompt. But again, using a simple prompt isn't necessarily a bad thing because it can explain it to us like we're 12 years old, and then maybe we're interested in a specific part of it, and then that's where we can add in more specifics in another prompt. So go ahead and let this go. Again, this was a pretty dense document discussing everything. The TFP puzzle. Okay, so here we go. The classroom of countries. Imagine the world as a giant classroom where every country is a student. They're all trying to get to the highest grade possible on a subject called productivity. Getting an A in productivity is a big deal because it means the country is wealthy and its people have comfortable lives. For a long time, Japan was the star student. It studied very hard and its grades shot up, almost catching up to the class leaders like the United States and Germany. But recently, Japan's grades have stopped improving and it is still a little bit behind the top classes. So page 3. Let's see if this is true. In the past few years, there have been concern that Japan's economy is falling further behind. So there we go. That's where I got it from. And what's really nice is it just pops up the PDF right where we wanted it to. So we can easily reference everything. And look, it's even highlighting it for us, the different pages on where these citations came from. So let's go back up to this other prompt here where it says, would you like me to visualize the TFP data differences between the US and Japan in a comparative bar chart? Yeah, let's have it do this. We can use the Nano Banana Pro, create images. That has a modern design, modern futuristic. Okay, so here we go. We have our bar chart. So it did code this, as we can see, in Python. So we can also use the Nano Banana Pro as well to create these images. So there it looks pretty futuristic. And there's the TFP growth. And it gives an explanation of the graph as well, the bar chart. So you can just create visuals out of any document and just make it much easier to understand. You can tell the AI to have it speak to you like you're 12 years old so you can understand any complex topic. And you can just go back and forth and interview the document with your large language model. And this turns a 2-hour reading session into a 5-minute chat. But sometimes the problem isn't reading, it's about starting to write. So the blank page is always scary. Starting a presentation, a blog post from scratch, and just staring at that blank screen. Never start from zero. Use AI to scaffold some sort of outline. Ask for 10 ideas. Ask it to start with the initial draft. So our prompt, I need to create a presentation on how to stay organized when you have notes all over the place for people who feel overwhelmed by messy digital and physical notes. Please provide 10 creative titles, and for the top 3, provide a detailed slide-by-slide outline, including key talking points for each slide. Include suggestions for visual elements on each slide. So you'll notice in all our prompts, we're being detailed and we're being precise and we're providing specific information on what we want instead of just something general. That's another thing with prompting. It's about being more specific. You're going to get better outputs when you can understand how to be concise, precise in your prompts. What do I really want to accomplish? What is really going to get me a better output? So give us our answer. Most people struggle not because they can't take notes, but because they lack a retrieval system. Here are 10 creative titles followed by detailed outlines for the top 3 concepts. Okay, notes everywhere all at once. The survival guide for the overwhelmed, taming the note tornado, from scattered scraps to a single system, and so on. And the top 3 presentation outlines. Option 1, the emergency triage approach. Okay, welcome and empathy, the promise, the open loop, digital versus physical, the inbox concept, the digital physical bridge. So this is really good. This is a really good start because it's a really basic diagram here. Okay, option 2, the framework approach, taming the note tornado, the 3 kinds of clutter, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, tools of the trade, your challenge, and option 3, the minimalist habit approach. So you can just see how detailed this is about what you're getting from a relatively simple prompt. Recommendation for delivery. Since your audience feels overwhelmed, keep the slide design minimal. So then it's suggesting the fonts, the colors, the text as well. And then you can also use AI as like your sparring partner. So let's say you have an idea based off this pain point that a lot of people are having. So our prompt here, I am planning a beginner I am planning a campaign for a beginner-friendly app that helps people declutter their digital life by automatically sorting screenshots, voice notes, and random text into clean folders. Here is my initial idea. Run a digital declutter week challenge where people upload their messy phone screenshots and we show them how the app organizes everything automatically. Please critique this idea, identifying 3 potential weaknesses and suggesting 5 alternative angles. Adopt the persona of a critical customer. So we're really going to dive into our specific idea and see what is working and give us new angles to look at. As I mentioned before, having the AI uncover different angles that you've never thought of is so valuable. And this can be for anything. It can be for cooking. It can be for having a difficult conversation with a friend, getting those insights. Okay, so we have the persona, the critique. There's a privacy panic, the upload problem, right? People don't want to upload their screenshots to a new app. A homework factor, a week-long challenge. I'm already drowning. The shame barrier. I don't want to show you my mess. So all realistic obstacles there. So 5 alternative angles. The panic button angle, fear and relief. Focus entirely on the anxiety of retrieval, not the virtue of organization. The tagline, find the return label in 3 seconds, not 30 minutes. Don't sell clean folders. Sell the end of the panic I feel when I'm starting at the checkout counter. When I'm standing at the checkout counter trying to find a screenshot of a coupon. Okay? And it gives more angles. The meme versus money angle highlights the app's ability to distinguish trash from treasure. So the AI has now become our sparring partner to help us refine our ideas. The AI has become our brainstorming partner and initial idea starter by giving us the slides that we can create and then having it to analyze our specific ideas for our app to see what angles we could take and what potential issues we may run into. So the AI really lowers that just energy that you need to start something like that. Like getting your app, like starting the slides, all of that takes a lot of energy. So the AI keeps you moving. So now let's move on to the mental game. When you have too many tasks, you get cognitive overload. And I've experienced this myself. You just freeze up when there's just too much and you don't know what to do. So what can you do if you feel overwhelmed and just frozen? Just do a brain dump. You can just type out every single thing that you're worried about. Okay, so here is our prompt. Here is a brain dump of everything I need to do this week. Schedule dentist appointment, buy groceries, register for the Saturday workshop, back up laptop files, blah, 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 refill prescriptions. So a really long list here. Then please organize these into an Eisenhower Matrix. Urgent, important, not urgent, important, not urgent / important, etc. And create a daily schedule for me starting at 9 a.m., blocking time for the deep work tasks first. Okay, so then of course it recognizes it's a lot on this list, but it's manageable once we sort it by priority rather than just staring at the volume. Okay, the Eisenhower Matrix, do first urgent. Call landlord about the leaking sink. That seems pretty important. Order replacement charger for laptop. Yep, can't work without it. Refill prescriptions. Sounds pretty important. Contract changes, a Saturday workshop as it's time sensitive. So yeah, really important. Deep work, brainstorming, review the proposal, budget, draft, ideas for podcast. Yep. And then delegate batch, quadrant 3, electricity bill. So we can batch all of this at once. Electricity bill, dentist appointment, water the plants. These can be knocked out pretty quickly. Buy groceries, that of course could take longer. Plan meals for the week, and that could be really short. More to come on that. Then quadrant 4, delete, deprioritize, clean out email inbox, declutter the living room, review monthly subscription charges. That could potentially be important depending on maybe what they are. So overall, the AI did a really good job categorizing this into the Eisenhower Matrix. Okay, the deep work daily schedule, and it breaks everything down for us by time. Of course, depending on the very specific tasks you have, maybe the AI won't give the most appropriate time, but it'll still be a good starting point. You go buy groceries or order for delivery, set a timer for 15 minutes max. So really good suggestions here to try and save time as well. So you can see the AI acts as your logical brain when your emotional brain is just taken over. I mean, if I saw that list of things that I had to do in a day, I would need to use artificial intelligence because I'm just getting a panic attack just looking at all that stuff. So let's say you don't know how to do one of these tasks. Then what do? Of course, you try and learn, but tutorials aren't one size fits all. A lot of times they're either too fast, too slow, Sometimes they don't even have the right information. So you can use the Socratic Tutor method. Don't just ask for the answer, ask the AI to explain it using analogies. So here's a prompt that we could use if we want to set up a monthly budget. I'm trying to understand how to create a monthly budget plan. Explain it to me using an analogy related to cooking. Make it impossible to forget. So you can see how we can get creative with the learning with large language models. We can have the AI meet us where we are in the learning process and how we're most comfortable learning. Okay, we're gonna look at it preparing the ultimate monthly stew. Here's a scenario, you're the head chef. Okay, ingredients, your income. The rule is simple. You must make this basket last for exactly 30 days. You cannot order more ingredients until the truck returns next month. Number 1, check your inventory. Number 2, the meat and potatoes. Needs/fixed expenses. The broth and the vegetables and variable needs. The spices and the garnish. Wants/discretionary. The chef's reserve. Savings. The taste test tracking. So this is really good. In summary, the 50-30-20 recipe. So that really did break it down nicely. So I would call this just-in-time learning. You learn exactly what you need, exactly when you need it. Okay, so now let's get out of the office and into our personal lives. Another common scenario here is, let's say you're planning a trip. You'll have 50 open tabs with hotels, places to see, restaurants, reviews, all of that, and you're just overwhelmed. And then you eventually just reading those top 10 generic lists where you feel like you're missing something, but you can be your own concierge. Just tell the AI this. Plan a 3-day trip to Tokyo for a couple in their 30s who love anime and history but hate crowds. Budget is moderate. Include travel times between locations to ensure the schedule is realistic. Suggest specific times to visit popular spots to avoid peak traffic. So again, seeing how specific we're being. In our 30s, 3 days, moderate budget, travel time between locations to ensure it's realistic, specific times, popular spots, avoiding peak traffic. So for this, I'm actually going to go to Perplexity. Perplexity is my favorite tool for researching things like this. So we'll use the save prompt, and we'll still use the Gemini 3 Pro with reasoning. The model Perplexity allows us to look at a lot of different sources here. So review 20 different sources, and then we can get a response back here. So personally, I like using Perplexity over the web search that all the other models have, as I feel their AI search engine is the best. Okay, so then we have our schedule here, 8 a.m., 11 a.m., neighborhood. Yeah, it doesn't look too packed. Looks like it's giving us enough time here. Not too much stuff packed in. Day 2, okay, telling us the time for the subway. Of course, when you're planning a trip, you'll obviously want to verify these things just to make sure that these timelines do match up and it's giving you factual information. But from my experience, going through these and asking about travel things, like planning a schedule, they are pretty accurate. Okay, day 3. Looks good, not too packed on day 3. Budget tips, summary of musts. And we can see the sources that it used. Desert Highway, Clue, Megan Jones, Lonely Planet, Japan National Tourism Organization, Reddit, Facebook, YouTube, TripAdvisor. So getting information from all over here. Okay, and then we can take this even further. Here's just another example of how we can use this for travel. We can say something like, I'm visiting Tokyo, suggest 5 hidden gems, restaurants that locals love, specifically serving sushi within walking distance of this temple. Avoid tourist traps. There we go, a small Michelin recognized sushi spot. Mimatsu Sushi, popular for their sea urchin. And Chutoro. For all these restaurants arrive close to the opening times, lunch at 11:30 a.m. So it really breaks down everything based on your preferences or what you want to do with your travels. So of course, your itinerary, what you want to do, what you want to see, who you're with, that all of course affects your travels. So being able to have a custom itinerary built out for you from research topics online, through websites, through social media is really helpful. So this brings us to the final tip here. And the question that we all hate is, what is for dinner? Let's be honest, it's the ultimate decision fatigue. You look into the fridge, see random ingredients, and then you just order takeout because you can't think. Quick fix to that, use the Pantry Chef prompt. You just tell the AI exactly what you have. I have chicken thighs, jasmine rice, broccoli, canned tomatoes, eggs, and spinach in the fridge. I need a meal plan for 3 days for 2 people. I want to spend less than $50 on extra ingredients. Give me the recipes and a categorized grocery list. Off we go. And then here we go, the canvas pops up, and here is our plan. The menu overview: soy garlic glazed chicken thighs with steamed broccoli and jasmine rice, chicken and spinach fried rice with crispy fried eggs, and then spinach shakshuka over jasmine rice. So there's our grocery list, extras to buy, $15 to $25, well under our limit. Garlic, ginger, green onions, onion, red bell pepper, pantry sauces, spices, and then we have our recipes. Gives us our prep time, cook time, tells us what to use, of course the ingredients, and then the instructions. And then day 2, same thing. And then day 3 with the spinach shakshuka over rice. Meal prep tips. Okay, cut up the chicken thighs on day 1 to save cleaning and cutting board twice. There you go, that is a good tip. Rice, it saves time to cook a large batch of rice on day 1 also. So there you go. Breaks down everything just on random ingredients that you could have in your refrigerator. So you don't have to think what to make. You don't have to browse through Instagram. You can of course ask for different recipes if you don't like the one that is on here. If you have any constraints, let's just say, I don't know, from the stuff that you wanted to buy, let's just say you don't like bell peppers or something like that, like red bell pepper, but this is optional. Let's just say you don't like onions. Say you really like mushrooms, you want to add mushrooms to one of your dishes or anything like that. So you can get super specific on exactly what you want, which is really nice. And this just saves your willpower for the important stuff. No one likes the decision fatigue from just thinking of what to have for dinner. So stop wasting brain power on onion and garlic. So the goal here isn't to do everything with AI. It is to get you to stop being the doer and get you to be the orchestrator. You provide the intent. The AI provides the labor. Start with these 10 tasks and you'll save hours. I've linked a document to all the prompts used in the description. My name is Daniel Strong and my mission is to help people learn AI. If you ever need any help, feel free to drop a comment in any of my videos, message me on social media. I have links in the description to my social media channels, as well as emailing me. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.